Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Aaron, and today we have a very special interview with the winner of the Malaysia Championships, Isaac Chen. Hi Isaac, how are you today?
Hey, hi Aaron. Yeah, I'm fine.
Thank you for jumping onto this interview. I know it's definitely been a big experience for you and also for everyone here in Malaysia this past weekend. And I think what better way to end off, the coverage for the Malaysia Championships 2023 with an interview with the champion himself. So just for those of you at home wondering about the event, it was held at Taman Mall, USJ. This was by far the biggest local or biggest Malaysian event we have had ever, and it consisted of a day one with 8 rounds of best of one Swiss, and then we had a top 16 day two, best of three in the Battle Styles to Scarlet and Violet format. So the same format as we had for the regional league, as well as the Singapore regional league, as well as the a Philippines national championship or the Philippines championship as well. So it's a very big format in terms of the number of events that we had in Southeast Asia. But so without further ado, Isaac, the first question for you would be: could you just introduce yourself, to our listeners, to our viewers?
Yeah, hi Aaron. All right. So perhaps before I introduce myself, once again, thanks for the invitation today, for the appreciate for that. So my name is Isaac. I've been playing Pokemon TCG since base set,
Wow.
as part of the hobby. But I think I only started to play competitive since 2012. I think this is the time that I think we met each other, right, Aaron?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we started at the first national in
Mm-hmm.
USJ, just next to Diamond. I still recall.
Yeah.
So I make it to my top six with my Darkrai EX deck. I still remember.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So glad that I make it this round to become the Malaysia champion. Yeah.
Nicely said. And by virtue of mentioning, us meeting in 2012, you kind of let our listeners know that we are both old people lah. So I think that's the nice touch in it. And yes, you are right. We were at that national championships pretty much in 2012, which is 11 years ago now. I remember that the tournament being like around only 30 people, if I'm not mistaken. It was a very small tournament. And now we had like almost 300 people at our national
Yes.
championships.
Yes.
That is huge.
Yeah, so very impressive. Yeah, I can
Mm-hmm.
found that the community is really actually, like really growth a lot along the time. Yeah.
Yeah, that is 100% well said, you know. And looking at your achievements, you mentioned you had a top six back in 2012, and now you went all the way to take the championship. You are now the winner. You are a national champion winner. That is a huge achievement, Isaac. So congratulations once again.
Um,
You know,
thank
yeah, and a perfect way to talk about your win is looking right now at your deck list, right? And so you have won the title with arguably my favorite deck of the format. So double points for you for that. You
Have
played
five, bro.
Indeed, high five. You played
Yeah.
Arceus, Duraludon, Umbreon.
Yes.
Precisely exactly the same deck that I would have played if I was playing. Obviously, I wasn't. And looking at your list here, which is the beautiful photo you shared with us. You have your list, your championship Ultra Ball and championship plaque, as well as the championship playmat underneath, and your lovely Rowlet dice carton. I think on the right. First and foremost, looking at your deck and your deck choice, let me let the viewers know, like, why did you choose this deck? Was there a particular reason that you picked Arceus, Duraludon, Umbreon for Malaysia Championships 2023?
Okay. Actually, I think before that, because
Mm.
I think I didn't play for a year. My last participation is since the last two regional last year.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, the main reason why I chosen for this deck, basically Arceus, Umbreon, Draudon, is a very streamlined deck that
Mm.
it give a lot of flexibility. When later on maybe I will touch on why why I like to pilot them, as part of my main choice. Uh, as
Mm.
you can see that maybe I start with the the first main character first, Arceus. Yes, B star. As you can see that this is come with 220 HP, and
Mm.
280 HP, and then the most powerful V star ability, it can allowing you to search for any two cards. I think this actually give you a huge boost whenever that you're in downturn or maybe for acceleration, energy acceleration as well.
Mm.
So okay, so and then it allow you to tag with different kind of Pokemons. Okay, then the best partner I think is would be Duraludon. Duraludon can be very high HP, huge damage at 220, and the best part is the ability that can prevent damage from the opponent Pokemon that attach with a special energy, whereby it's a hype in the current meta. I would say the current meta would be like Lugia, Mew,
Mm.
Gardevoir, Lost Box. The at least there are two or three that are using the special energies
Yep.
in the format. So you take advantage of that. Then the lastly I touched on the Umbreon. Uh, as you see that the current meta also Gardevoir is one of the hype. Uh, Umbreon is from darkness. It give uh once 160 damage you can easily KO or either Mew, VMAX or Gardevoir EX
Mm.
as well. So I think it give a full flexibility. It give it's an all rounder deck, but depending how you have to pilot it with your deck list lah. So
Mm.
I think, and then this is a day one will be a best of one. I think just my personal opinion. I feel that this is a good deck to pilot lah. Like uh as compared to like Lost Box, sometimes you need a lot of time to thinking, lack of
Mm.
time. So this is just my personal opinion lah. But of course, best of three, it will be a different choice lah. Yeah. Okay.
Very well said. No, that is a perfect introduction to the deck, and I think you covered all the bases very well. In terms of the Pokemon that you carry in this deck. As much as I believe this is one of my favorite decks, it's also I'm glad to see that it's also a favorite deck of many other people as well. Like you yourself taking it all the way to the championship. But for those of you who are very interested, this is actually one of the highest placing decks in the format in the meta game, I want to say, in Malaysia. I think this was the fifth most played deck in the Malaysia Championships after we did some analysis of the 300 people that played. So glad to see that you believe in the deck. Glad to see that many other Malaysians also believe in the deck. But if I have to ask you, what do you think is your best card from the deck throughout the entire weekend? If you can choose
I
one, what is it?
think yeah, I think definitely it will be Volo.
Nicely said.
Yeah. Because I think the this deck actually is quite tough against Lost Box,
Mm.
because they are one price attacker, and whenever they kill they kill our B Pokemon, it will take two price. So actually we have some disadvantage lah in catching up.
Mhm.
So Polo would be something that to mitigate this part lah. Yeah.
Yeah, and if those
Okay.
of you who want to know it even
So
further, you should
yeah,
watch the
she's
stream.
during the top four and also final. Yeah. Okay.
No, it's good. It's good that you mentioned that the your matchups, which we will get to in a little bit. Right. The next view is your matchups, and I think
Alright.
for those who really want to know how important that Volo was for you, they should really catch the recording of the live stream, because thankfully I had the opportunity of commentating at least two of your top 16 matches during that time frame on day two, and we were very impressed with your plays on Volo. I think Volo deserves to be upgraded to a full art in your deck. Please sell the Adventure Discovery and upgrade to a full art Volo, because that Volo did a lot of work for you in this entire
Yeah.
tournament.
But I think this is a lucky charm of
Oh, true.
normal version. I think I prefer to maintain on it.
Good point. Well
Yeah,
said.
yeah,
Well
yeah,
said.
yeah, yeah.
So now, perfect segue, right? Let's jump into your matchup. So I'm gonna go there, and we can see here. This is your road to the championship view. Your day one, 8 rounds, and your day two, 4 matches. So looking at day one first, right? You finished with 6 wins and 2 losses, finishing at 10th seed. So in our format here, you are basically locked in for day two, top 16, right? You play your top 16 match, in day two. But looking at just around day one first, right? You met a couple of Mew, which you handily won. You met three Gardevoirs, which you had a 2-1 record, so not too bad. And then you had also a random Arceus, Giratina, and a Lost Zone box. So looking at just at your day one, right? What do you think was your toughest matchup in day one? I think you were pretty much
I
locked in already for day two by round seven with that win. But if you had to choose
yeah.
your toughest matchup, what was it?
I think the toughest would be the Lost Zone box, which is the
Mm.
round 8, whereby it's a Lost Zone box Kyogre.
Mm.
As I mentioned just now, they are only one price attacker, so that we actually disadvantage on that. So once actually there's a one cons under this deck, whereby once we are unable to set up, it could be a huge problem,
Yeah.
to further proceed further. Yeah. So as you see, and day one it will be best of one. So sometimes lucks also play a part of the important
Yeah.
elements on that. Yeah. So Lost Box always I think is a I believe every deck they will have some the decks actually is losing disadvantage advantage to the others.
Well said. I think that's a very
Mm,
good call out.
mm,
And now if we pivot to day two, right, finishing off your tournament experience, you had a rapid strike Urshifu VMAX Intelligent VMAX in top 16, and then a top 8 match against Siswine Gudra V Star, top 4 against Lawzone Box, top 2 also against Lawzone, but two different variants, one against Kyogre, one more against Sableye, Radiant Charizard. Now,
uh,
out of these matches, I believe we got to watch you play in top 4 and also in the finals in the recording. So for those at home who want to check it out, I commentated those matches and I could say that the Volo was by far, as you said previously, the best card. But just putting that aside right now, day two, do you recall any specific match which you believe to be a little bit more difficult than others? Any matchup, any game or match within that top two, day two games that you
I
played?
I think for the day two, maybe I think four the matches also very intense for me as you
Mm-hmm.
can see that mostly go to the third game.
Oh yes,
Okay, maybe I go for the round 16 first, the
sure.
top 16. So actually I play with Chris. This is a tough deck as well, but but thanks to my Duraludon, is immune from the special energy from the Urshifu. So actually it allowing me to continue to stand on the board. Otherwise, it would be very hard to pass it. But yeah, and then it was very intense, a close game. So comes to top 8. This also I need to give a credit to my Groudon because
Mm.
you know, right, the Gudra they will
Yes.
reduce the damage by 80 damage.
Mm-hmm.
So but Groudon it can ignore the effects. So by attaching a choice bell plus the single strike energy, it was just enough to KO.
Nice.
Yeah. Actually, I just
Nice.
found out during the turn two. Then I stick with the formula. This is the best part of best of three. During
Yes.
the best of one, I couldn't think of all of this, like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because during end of day one, maybe we will start to prepare for the matchup for top 16. We wouldn't think of who will be going to our opponent. So top 8, when the second match I found this advantage for my point for my deck. Uh so I go with the same way for round 3 lah. Yeah.
Nice,
Okay.
nice. So literally
Okay.
on the
Okay.
game itself. So in your second
Yes,
game was
yes,
when you
yes.
discovered the play. Wow,
Yes, yes,
impressive,
yes.
impressive.
Actually, I didn't expect that because just enough damage to 270
Yeah,
damage. Right.
exactly.
Yeah. So of course the toughest one I would say maybe the round 3 lah, because sorry, the final
Mm.
match against Jacob, because of I think the round 2 and round 3 I was break lah, unable to find my Arceus V star.
Mm-hmm.
They actually cost me delay, getting collecting price. Yeah, I tried my best. Yeah, but both of us actually we didn't know time is called until because when we live stream we didn't actually monitor the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
glad that I made it. Yeah, yeah.
that was an intense match. Like I think if top four, you had a pretty solid game plan against
Mm.
Kyogre, and I think your Volo came in clutch in both those games. I think that was pretty straightforward. Uh, in the finals itself, we were all on the edge of our seats because the moment you took game one down, we thought, okay, this looks like a very straightforward experience for Arceus. You set up, you just roll with Duraludon, and that's it. And Volo comes into play to make sure that you're always ahead. But then on your game two against Jacob, we saw how important a turn two Starbird was for the Arceus deck. The moment you missed it, it so quickly spiraled out of control, and that's when we went down to the wire on a game three in the finals. But I think overall you did well. Honestly, this was one of a one of the most epic tournament runs I've seen. Especially as you said, you haven't been playing for almost a year, right? You mentioned so.
Yeah, almost
Definitely.
a year. But although I didn't play, but
Mm,
because part of my hobby to follow the latest regionals, from YouTube channels. Yeah.
hmm
So I get to catch up a little bit from the meta lah. Yeah.
That is great. Like imagine, I think a lot of players who came back this season probably also feel the same way, right? The amount of online coverage these days compared to like 10 years ago is so much different nowadays.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we look at it, congratulations on your run again. And I think the main thing that I want to ask then, for those of you at home for those of the viewers at home who are looking at your run, if they want to pick up this deck, two key things. The first thing is, what is your advice about picking up this deck to play? And I think number two would be, do you think this deck still has potential moving forward now that we are moving to a new Paldea Evolve, format with the new set? So two questions, right? What is the
Mm.
advice you give someone who wants to play this deck? And number two, do
Okay.
you think they should even play this deck now that we are in a new format with Paldea Evolve?
Okay. Maybe I can answer the second question
Mm.
first. So I would say it's still playable. Actually, based on the latest set, I can see so far only from my observation, maybe the Chen will come in for meta,
Mm.
the Chen. Okay, but when you're looking at the Chen HP, uh, it's still 220. Our Duraludon still able to take it.
Yep.
And it requires a lot of setup for Chen meta lah. Other than that, I think maybe we just need to add on some latest trainers lah, in order to enhance the current deck lah. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, the go back to question one. I would say actually depending, actually a lot of build tag you can tag to this deck, but I think to all the maybe for the new players, for myself, how I got this idea for this deck actually mainly also extracted from the list from the from the Europeans, or from other countries. So but after that I did some modification like this is very different compared to where we started Aaron during the time 2012, whereby
Yeah.
the online platform is not so advanced,
Mm-hmm.
where we have to form our own deck. Sometimes we need to sit down without any source. We have to crack. So go back to basic. So whenever we got this list, we must know that
Mm.
is this the style we're going to play. For my list, I think maybe it's more to consistency. That's
Right.
why I play few duplicate copy, in terms of one tag or so on. So
Mm.
whereby yeah, I think this tag is still playable, or if you want to, yeah, actually you can modify according to suits to your style lah. Yeah, like I can see the top eight, he play with a lot of variants. It's also very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
because maybe this is suit to his style, like, yeah, yeah. Congrats to him as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the only other Arceus in top 16, I think, which played Arceus, but they had a different game plan with, like, I think six different attackers. I think
Yes,
that
yes,
was an
yes.
interesting conversation to have with him on online, because
Yes, yes, yes.
it's such an interesting deck. But
Yes,
and in
yes.
any case, I think the final question that I'll leave you with then is that now that you're national champion, right? Obviously, Yokohama is in your sights. That's for Worlds in August. But in general, what are you looking forward to in the coming months?
Coming month, for the upcoming month, the Asia TCG events, I think I might joining. And
Ah,
also,
yes.
also I will start for some training with the community, for preparation for worlds lah. Yeah.
Great stuff. And I think, that brings us to the end of today's interview. Isaac, once again, congratulations on your win. You are the national champion for Malaysia 2023. And we are just super excited for you to represent Malaysia and yourself at the World Championships in August in Yokohama. I hope to see you there. I'll definitely be going as well. I'll hope to bump into you when you're there, and definitely wishing you all the best to continuously perform at this amazing high level after all these years being in the game. So thank you for doing this interview. Any final words before we go
No.
off?
Okay. I think once again, thanks Aaron for the interview session today,
My
for
pleasure.
some small sharings. Yeah. Okay. So I will do my best for upcoming works preparation. Yeah. Thank you.
Great stuff. And to those of you at home, if you have any comments for Isaac, feel free to leave them in the comment section. As always, any feedback, any comments will be welcome. As we continue to provide some coverage for the Pokemon TCG scene here in Southeast Asia. It's Aaron from the channel. Catch you next time. See ya.